Welcome back to Sideline Lounge. I'm your host, Joseph Pastabeto, and today, on today's episode, we're going to be doing a first round mock draft. I'm going to call this version 1.0 because over the few weeks, everything can change. I just want to make sure that the camera's working and everything like that. So I'll be looking at majority of my laptop majority of the time, but the camera's right here. So let's go ahead and let's start this mock draft. So we're gonna I'm gonna use Pro Football Network. PFF, it has a free version and everything, but I'm not going to go about that. I'm not willing to pay that much money, especially when it's just mostly for the draft. So then again, I'm not really getting paid for it. So I'm just doing this for the love of the game, essentially. But we're going to go with exactly what's going to happen, in my opinion. And we're not going to do any trades. We're gonna go through the explanation. We're gonna try to keep this underneath 30 minutes. So we're gonna go quick with it. Starting with pick number one, of course, it's with the Raiders. I feel like this is just just a unanimous. There's just no way that the Raiders are going to skip this. We're going to go with Fernando Mendoza. They need a franchise quarterback. They just bolstered up their O line. Now they just need to get Mendoza a right tackle. A left guard was already addressed with Spencer Buford. So, in my opinion, Mendoza just needs another weapon at the receiver, maybe like a Mark Cooper, Chris Bell, um, maybe Chris Brezel. So essentially, we'll go through about that process for the Raiders, but I think they're just missing a competent, maybe a veteran wide receiver there. So we'll continue with that. With pick two, with the Jets, they have two first round picks. We're gonna go with Arvel Reese. I feel like this is also not just a. It just makes sense. Also, the Jets just traded a foundational defensive player in Sauce Gardner to the Colts. So we need to address the foundation for the Jets. We know that they're rebuilding. We know that for a fact that they might try to go for Ark Manning next year. We'll see what happens for what the QB situation is going to be in the Jets. But essentially, right now, you already have Garrett Wilson and Brees Hall as your offensive weapons. You just need to start bolstering up that defense as well. With they traded for Tavondre Sweat. So they're trying to replace Quentin Williams. And it's going to start working, but we're going to see what the Jets continue to do, especially heading to the draft. I think the free agency was phenomenal, but I forgot to pull that up. So, oh well. But we're going to move on to pick number three. At pick number three, we're going to be looking at the Cardinals. The Cardinals, if I remember correctly, the Cardinals only just have one. They have pick one. Okay, they just have one pick in the first. So with the Cardinals, a lot of people are. I think this is what it's going to happen. I think they're going to go tackle here. At quarterback, they still don't have a quarterback. They still have Jacoby Brissett. But if you already have Paris Johnson at left tackle, you might as well get a right tackle. And let's go get the best right tackle in the draft. And it's going to be Francis Magno. I forgot his last name, from Miami. Essentially, we're gonna bolster up that tackle room, and just like the Jets have a really good 1-2 punch at tackles. Why not just replicate that? And since you already got, I think it was Tyler Algier, James Conner, Trey Benson, you have really good running backs in that Arizona team. You just need to start bolstering up that. Oh no, their offense is going to be fine, especially with Marvin Harrison and Sherry McBride. But it depends. It's all going to depend on play calling, and once they find their quarterback solution. The defense, of course, is always just about who they're going to be drafting and everything like that. I think let's just go foundational for the Arizona Cardinals, especially in NFC West with really good D linemen. It's just, I feel like this is the right pick. For the Tennessee Titans, we're going to go back up the board. We're looking at running back Jeremiah Love. In my opinion, this is probably where Jeremiah Love is probably going to go. This is the number one prospect, in my opinion, for the 2026 draft class. Love is just a phenomenal player, and he literally, in my opinion, he's better than Fernando Mendoza, especially as an offensive player. But Love isn't on that level of Bijan Robinson, Jameer Gibbs, but he will be a very good asset. Like I would love on the Dallas Cowboys as a 1-2 punch with Javante Williams, but it's not likely that Love is going to be there at 12. And again, we're not doing no trade ups, we're not doing no trade backs, but we'll see. For the Giants, a lot of people have Carnell Tate going to the Giants. A lot of people have Caleb Downs going to the Giants. In my opinion, you really can't go wrong with the Giants here. If you can see here where my cursor is, they need wide receiver, linebacker, guard, corner, and safety. In my opinion, if they get Sonny Styles, I think this is where Sonny Styles goes for me. That D line is just phenomenal, and I really can't see a world without it. Like the D line is already good, but they just couldn't like they got the pressures, they just couldn't finish and get the sacks. There's a lot of potential there, but then again, like last year without Bill Carter, he wasn't really a playmaker. So let's go get another playmaker at linebacker. Plus, they've released what's his name? Tremaine Edmonds? Tremaine Edmonds, and then he went and signed with the Bears. So we'll see. So I think Sonny Styles is gonna fall here. And then the Browns. So theoretically, in my world, I see the Dallas Cowboys trading up at 6 or 8, getting back. So, like for example, in a trade, the Cleveland Browns would be trading back for 12 and 20 from the Dallas Cowboys, and the Cowboys receive 6 and 39. Or the Dallas Cowboys trade up to pick 8 at the Saints, pick 8 and 42 with 12 and 20 again. So we'll see what happens here. But for the Browns, they still need to find an offensive tackle. I still think that they go best at offensive tackle. I'm not going to go Caleb Lomu. I still don't think he's the best. I don't think he got beat by some like round two edges. So we're going to go with Monroe Freeling from Georgia. So I think that's a play right there. For Washington, let's go back down. For Washington, this is where they could go edge, but they already addressed with Quiddy Pay. I think they addressed with Quiddy. No, is it Quiddy Pay? I forgot who they signed. I wish I had everything, but they signed two edges. I think it was Levon Chasson and it was another. So it was the Patriots. Oh, Odafe Owe from the Chargers, I believe. But people can always fact check me on that and everything. So, well, we'll continue to go on about it. I think the Commanders, personally, in my opinion, they might go. They're not going to go Bain. They're not going to go Davis Babies. This is where I can see Caleb Downs going because they do need a safety. And you know what? I am going to take Caleb Downs here at 7 for the Saints. So in my reels, if you guys weren't paying attention, I was talking about wide receiver or corner. This is where, in my opinion, as a Dallas Cowboys fan, this is where I like to call the minefield starts to happen because 8 through 11 is where the Cowboys have to watch. And this is where they have to trade up because picks 9 through 11, the Chiefs, the Bengals, and the Dolphins, they're all looking for defense. So, in my opinion, right here, I think the Saints could go Carnell Tate or they go Mansell Delane. Here's what I'm going to do. I think in a world where the Saints need to address nickel, it's very possible that at pick 42 they could get one of the best nickels like D'Angelo Pons or Keontae Scott. However, I think Mansur Delane is so versatile. I think I'm going to take Mansur Delane at 8. At 9, this is where it gets interesting. I think this is where Edge David Bailey goes to as to as like a partner, running mate for George Karlaftis, essentially. I think a lot of people are going to be really mad at me for this one. I think because like we're gonna go talk about Miami real quick soon, but we're gonna do this real quick with the Cincinnati Bengals. Do you protect? And I have a video coming out about it. I still have to yet to record it, but essentially in that short video, I'm gonna be asking: do the Bengals protect Joe Burrow, who is literally the reason why the franchise is afloat, or do they address the worst defense in history? So this is why, for example, like I said, 9 through 11 is just hell. It's just a really bad spot for the Dallas Cowboys. This is why I just call it a minefield. I'm going to say for the Bengals, and you could hate me all you want, they could go defense. They possibly don't like Ruben Bain because of the short arms, and it's just very possible that both Caleb Downs at 7 and Ruben Bain even fall out of the top 10 just hearing reports of it, it's just kind of absurd to me. But we're going to be more realistic and just follow my board. I'm going to go for the Bengals. Hear me out. I'm looking at Kedrick Falk. A lot of people have been also been talking about this guy going early in the first round. However, actually, no, we're going to go edge. Peter Woods would have been my pick here, but they just signed a veteran. I think Jonathan Allen from the Vikings. Whoever one of the two D tackles were released from the Vikings, and they signed one of them. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go Peter Woods. But then again, I also see a world where they also draft Jermai McCoy or Dylan Thieneman. Let's see, D tackle, safety, linebacker, edge, corner. Or yeah, no, they could go D tackle here if we just follow what they need. Um, you know what? I'm gonna go Peter Woods. I'm gonna go with my gut, like I said earlier. Now, what does the what do the Dolphins need? The Dolphins just signed Malik Willis, and he currently has no weapons. So this is where Carnell Tate goes. Like, I'm not gonna talk about it that much because I just feel bad for Willis because he signed with the Dolphins, saying like, oh yeah, you're gonna be the franchise quarterback, and they just traded away Jalen Waddle to the Broncos. They still have Devon Chan, but he's also in trade rumors. You need to get another weapon. I think if you're the Dolphins, I couldn't care less about what's going to happen there. But it's still they're going to go BPA, and Carnell Tate is BPA, and of course for my Dallas Cowboys, I this is where Ruben Bain is going to just go. I'm not going to explain it that much because, but then again, I've mentioned my Cowboys so much. Now, this is where it gets insane. I truly believe that the Rams they go get another wide receiver. It's going to be just between these guys, Jordan Tyson and Mekhi Lemon. I think if they want a physical receiver, they're both physical. It's just that Jordan Tyson is a little bit more injury prone. He's more of a like a hurt guy, but Mekhi Lemon is also really good. I think his comp is Amon St. Brown, Mekhi Lemon, and then Jordan Tyson is like a George Pickens except minus the injuries. Um, but I, I mean, if you go look what they're talking about, tackle, linebacker, wide receiver, I could see Sonny Styles falling here, but I'm not going to go do that. I think this is where they go get. I think who's the better wide? Is it Caleb or Fano? I think because they do need a tackle. I think this is where Caleb Loma goes. They do need to just right tackle, so I wouldn't be surprised if they do that. Ravens, D tackle, guard, wide receiver, corner. Jordan Tice is still available on the board. I don't really see another team selecting him until maybe like the Panthers or the Steelers. But honestly, for what the Ravens need, ooh, they did lose Linderbaum. They have Madubuike still on injury reserve because of the neck injury. Corners do need help, but they have Kyle Hamilton, Nate Wiggins, um, Marlon Humphrey, Malachi Starks. Their secondary is not that bad, so I don't understand why corner is necessary unless they want to fill out that nickel. Um, I could see because like McCoy, I feel like McCoy is just I'm the reason why I'm not drafting McCoy anywhere currently right now is because his pro day is approaching real soon, and we just don't know what his metrics going to look like, what his attributes going to look like, especially since he came off a torn ACL. But then again, that was almost 2 years ago. So we'll see what happens there. But in my opinion, let's just be more reasonable. Let's be smart. I think this is where um, Vega Ione goes to the Ravens. Now at 15, I believe their linebacker just. I think the Bucks linebacker just retired. They lost Devin White. They haven't re-signed Devin White. I think this is where they go linebacker. Where is CJ Allen? I know this is like consensus and everything because this is what I selected consensus. I didn't select PFF. Then again, every team's mock, boards are different from mine, and I think this is where they go linebacker. I think they could go edge, but Yaya Diaby was also really good last year. D tackle is so questionable because of the fact that you have Vita Vea back there, and then you have Antoine Winfield in the back. Guard would make sense, but they were just hurt last year. So I'm just gonna go linebacker here. Where are you? Let me go CJ Allen. 16. Now this is where it would make sense. If I could go find the Jets. Here you go. Yeah, this is where Jordan Tyson goes for me. The Lions. So like again, let's pair up a Garrett Wilson with another wide receiver. Then again, it's just Geno Smith out there. Not really sure. But if I had to, I would have drafted Ty Simpson. But then again, he's projected to be a round two pick. It's very possible that with the Jets pick at 33, that's exactly where, in my opinion, that is where Ty Simpson is going to be. Um, the Lions, in my opinion, where you at tackle? This is where they go, Spencer Fano. This is where it's either Fano or Blake Miller out of Clemson. I think they're just going to take whoever is the best tackle off the board, and that's just what it's going to make sense for me personally. Now, the Vikings, Harrison Smith just retired or is a free agent and safety is a need. So Dylan Thieneman is arguably maybe safety two behind Caleb Downs, and then followed like the top three is Dylan Thieneman, or no, Caleb Downs, and then the uh, Dylan Thieneman and Emmanuel McNeil Warren are kind of reversible between two and three. So we're gonna go Dylan Thieneman here. Now, a lot of talk for the Panthers. The Panthers just addressed edge and linebacker. So that would make sense why they're doing that. However, they just signed the dude out of I think Rasheed Walker, the Packers kid, left tackle. So I don't know if I want to go left tackle. I feel like that line is really strong, maybe a center because Cade Mays also left. Safety would also be a good address. D tackle. Now, if they went D tackle and paired that up with Derek Brown, that would be scary. Wide receiver would be insane, but you have Jalen Coker, you have Tedrock McMillan. Let's be reasonable. I think if you get a receiver like, or not receiver, my bad, a tight end like Kenyon Sadiq, you look at Tyler Warren and what Colston Loveland did last year for the Bears and Colts, respectfully, they opened up the defense. And I feel like Bryce Young needs a safety blanket. I love Tet. He's 6'4" and everything, but Sadiq, if it shows here, 6'3". Yeah. So we're gonna go Kenyon Sadiq. This is where I think personally he's gonna go. Now, like I said, with my Dallas Cowboys, where are you guys? Oh, there you guys are. With my Dallas Cowboys, we already selected Ruben Bain Jr. Now, in my opinion, safety isn't really a need. We already dressed because they're going to run a 3-4 base. I mean, I just know a lot more knowledge on my Cowboys than any other team right now, of course. But I think with Ruben Bain, we're going to move him at defensive end. And then we have Rashawn Gary, Donovan Ezraku at edges. You still need a linebacker. I don't know if Dallas is going to do that after or before the draft. For example, I could I could see Dallas trading for Jordan Brooks like I've done multiple videos ago, but it is very possible that they draft Avion Terrell. They might draft a corner, like it says here. I don't think edge is also a good thing to get, but I also believe that we're not done there yet. I could see us literally doubling down with Akeem Isidore and Ruben Bain. I wouldn't be surprised about that. Jermod McCoy is still available, but then again, like I said, he's injury prone. Not injury prone, but he's coming off a torn ACL. And the last time that we got game film on him was 2024, and he didn't play the entirety of 2025. The Dallas Cowboys already have a third round pick in Siobhan Ravel, who came off a torn ACL, and then he faced a setback during training camp. And then his first time that he played in the NFL was week 11 against the Raiders. So I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas goes corner here. If Jamad McCoy tests well, I can see him going earlier in the draft in that 20. I can see Kedrick Folk here. I can see Avion Terrell. I think for the sake of the video, though, because let's see, it's already been 20 minutes. So we're on pace right now. So I think this is where if Jamag McCoy falls here, I'm going to just take Jamag McCoy. I'm not going to complain about it. Now, this is where it gets interesting for the Steelers. The Steelers need, like, Patrick Queen was always on the trade block. They just traded away Minka. No, Minka Fitz. No, they already have Jalen Ramsey. They have Joey Porter. They could go corner, but I don't think they need that. Safety would be Emmanuel McNeil Warren. That's the only other first round grade that I have, or late first round grade, early second. This is probably where they go Makai Lemon. I don't really see any other team selecting another receiver until maybe the Bills Niners. So I'm just gonna just choose Makai Lemon there. The Chargers, they need guard, edge, defensive tackle, safety, corner. I think this is where, like, if I went to go check, they need to address. They already have two solid tackles, Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt, of course, but they're injury prone. I wouldn't be surprised if they went Amar Cooper, especially another wide receiver. This is D tackle, safety, cornerback. I think they take the best corner and say screw it, why not? Or they go edge. I think they're going to go BPA. I think they go whoever's higher on their board. Of course, it's going to be. I think it's just going to be between these two defenders. And just for the sake of video, again, we're going to go. I think. I think for the sake of it, I'm going to go Avion Terrell. Now for the Eagles, Eagles. They need edge, tackle, wide receiver, tight end, and safety. I think this is where they also go BPA with Kendrick Folk. The Browns. So back here again, they already got an offensive tackle. Don't need to do that. They don't need edge. They don't need D tackle. They need a quarterback. But Shadur and Dylan Gabriel are fighting for that. They signed a ton of interior O line this past offseason or free agency. This is probably where they go wide receiver. And my wide receiver on my board would be here, Amar Cooper. The Bears. The Bears probably just take Caden McDonald. They need to address the D tackle room. They address linebacker. They address safety. Wide receiver could be necessary, but I'm not really seeing a need. Tight end, running back, no. Quarterback is fine. O line is perfectly fine. O line was actually phenomenal for the Bears last year. I think we're. I think if all Bear fans were watching this, I'm going to go Kid McDonald here out of Ohio State. He's probably one of the best nose tackles in the draft heading into this. Actually, he probably is the best nose tackle, higher than like I think Peter Woods is the 3 or 5 tech. Kid McDonald's a nose. So we'll see. The Bills edge, wide receiver, safety, linebacker, guard. I can see that this is starting to get like, oh, like, oh, we're making reaches and everything like that. So now I went too far. Um so we're gonna do that. So I think for me personally, I think for the Bills, edge, wide receiver, safety, linebacker, guard. Because I'm still surprised that Akeem Isidore is still on the board. They probably, instead of Kedrick Folk, but the Kedrick Folk can be a top 10 pick. It's just like, again, draft needs and everything like that. So we're gonna go. Their tackles are phenomenal. They lost David Edwards. Dude, I feel like now I'm thinking about it. They lost David Edwards. What if they go out there and get the best guard available? Let me move that back down. Like Pregnon shouldn't be at 50. He should be early second to mid 50s, which is kind of correct, of course. But where do the Bills pick? Bills. There you are. 26 and 91. So they don't have a second. Okay. Oh wait, that's right. They traded away that second for DJ Moore. What do the Bills need? Edge, wide receiver. They lost Joey Bosa. They have Greg Rousseau. They do need a running mate at edge. They also do need the tackle. Wide receiver, they traded for DJ Moore. Safety, DeMar Hamlin's back there. I remember Bills fans talking about that secondary just fine. So let's go Akeem Mesidor. This is where it makes sense for me. Okay, now for the Texans. No, my bad. Not for the Texans. The Niners. I've been talking to my guys, Niner fans and everything like that. they do need to tackle. Trent Williams' future is very, very uncertain. Wide receiver would be good address, but I think edge, wide receiver, and tackle are a necessary fit, especially from 27, 58, and 127. I think, in my opinion, how they're going to go about this draft is that they're going to address the trenches, draft a wide receiver at 58, and then whatever is left at 127 or BPA at the position at D tackle or tackle, of course. But this is where Blake Miller probably falls to. I really like Blake Miller. He's probably better than Caden Proctor, in my opinion. Or they go Christian Miller. However, this is where Christian Miller goes. The Texans need a D tackle. They lost a bunch of their D tackles. They lost Tim Settle. They lost, oh my goodness, they lost so much D tackles to the free agency this year. They might as well get young. They already have Will Anderson, and I feel like Christian Miller is a plug and play kind of guy. And in a D'Amico Ryan's kind of defense, I think the Texans should be just fine. Pushing 26 minutes, so that's not that bad. Not that bad. Okay, we're getting real close to the end of the third. So let's do this right now. We're gonna go. So with the ooh, what do they do? What did the Chiefs do? What did I drafted? David Bailey. So they already got edge. They can go corner. This is where they probably go Colton Hood. In my opinion, this is probably one of the best corners out of the draft. He's very physical. One of the if I had to rank them, it go Mansoor, Jamal McCoy maybe, or you know what, Jamal McCoy will be top three still, but it'll be Mansoor Delane, Colton Hood, um, Jamal McCoy, and then other corners that just follow after. Oops, I moved that too far. Okay, we're good. So for the so we already just edge. They could go corner. Now I already released a video just a few days ago saying what do the Chiefs do at pick 29 or pick 9, because I was saying like, man, they can address edge, they can address corner. In my opinion, if they didn't go Mansour Delane, or if Mansour Delane was already off the board for them, that's why they would go David Bailey, or they would go best player available again. But this is probably where they go get a corner. In my opinion, like the Chiefs have always been relying on day two, day three picks for their corners, but they just lost two corners to the Rams. They traded away Trent McDuffie, and then they let Jalen Watson walk to the Rams and everything like that. We already addressed the running mate with Karlaftis. D tackles are nothing to worry about. Corners are feel like it's just a need, and I'm gonna go Cohen Hood, like I said. The Miami Dolphins are again back on the board. We already went wide receiver. Now this is where I was mentioning. This is gonna be also mentioned in the video. I think whatever they do to address this part, they're gonna address the opposite. So this is where it's like they need wide receiver, corner, guard, edge. They did let Jalen Phillips walk. No, they traded him to the Eagles. Tackle was also needed, but then I don't know how much they're willing to bet for like to protect, Malik Willis and everything like that. I genuinely feel bad for him. So I wouldn't be surprised if dude, there's no way they go back to back offense because like look, oh, they got early picks though. That's what I'm about to say. Shoot. I think they might be looking at like one of the best players here off the boards. Like they need edge wide receiver. But look, it's two defensive players and then edge. Because if I don't want to look up at the Dolphins kind of thing. I you know what? I think this is where they go edge. I think this is where the TJ Parker goes to. This is the edge that they need to address. He's the perfect fit for I don't know what kind. No, Jeff Haley runs a base 4-3. He's the Packers defensive coordinator turned now Miami's head coach. TJ Parker's a really good edge in a 3-4. So either way, I think this is perfectly fine for now for the Patriots and Seahawks coming up. I think the Patriots go wide receiver. I think this is where Concepcion goes, or they go tackle because but I can see them going wide receiver here. I don't think as much as they need edge, like let's continue to go down, bro. Like the closest guy is Malachi Lawrence or Zion Young. But then again, like some of these edges deserve to be in the first round. Like it's just that there's too much talent. Or RM Mason Thomas, like he's projected to be a third round pick, but he could really be a first. Like it's genuinely insane. You know what? I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna do that right now. I think this is where RM Mason Thomas goes. And then what the reigning champion Seahawks do. They need a running back. And at pick well, let me find the Seahawks real quickly. At pick 64, this is probably where they go. For example, they could go Jadarian Price, Emmett Johnson. Like that's just a bunch. Like I think they go either one of these two, in my opinion. Jadarian Price or Emmett Johnson at 64. I wouldn't be surprised. But to address what the Seahawks need, I think this is where Brandon Cisse falls. I think this is they don't need edge. They have corners. I don't think they're willing to start Josh Jobe. Don't get me wrong, a phenomenal rotation. But then again, man, I feel like Chase Pasantis is down here. Pons is here. I wouldn't be surprised if they reach for Pons at 32. I think you know what we're gonna go Brandon Cisse. This is also a rate because like for me personally, after like out of the top 15, that's where like that early second grade comes in. So to wrap up the video, we're gonna go Brandon Cisse. So but yeah, that's the end of my draft. So I hope I hope you guys don't get mad at me. This is just my opinion, of course. You guys can always do your mock draft that the way that you want, but that's just how I feel, especially with what the teams need because I'm just trying to study everybody's rosters, what they did in free agency. I'm just trying to keep it up on that. I should have had the free agency list just with me, just in case. But I think, we did this all in one take, so you can't blame me. But yes, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you guys like and subscribe. Thank you for, going through the 32 minutes of content for this. I'm going to continue to try to do weekly episodes, but also follow me on Instagram, Sideline Lounge, and of course on TikTok as well. I'm going to be posting a lot of reels. But then again, if you follow me on YouTube, the shorts are also going to be the same content that you see on Instagram and TikTok. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching and hope you guys have a good night. See ya.